So Kroton Educational. Educational? How do you want to pronounce it? What country are we in?
Sounds right. We're in Brazil now,
we're
so
in
you have to put
Brazil.
on your Portuguese accent, please.
Okay, you're going to have to give it a shot there. Anyway, this one,
Educacional.
Educacional, is a Brazilian private education group. And the company operates under a number of brand names, also publishes materials related to education. So this is part publishing, part normal course education.
You know, it sounds very similar to Caro. So it started out in Belo Horizonte, which is one of the secondary cities in Minas Gerais of Brazil. And basically it was a bunch of guys basically preparing themselves to do a new way of doing maths. So the Central College, Pythagoras, or you can say that in a Brazilian accent. And then since then, it's expanded. It's become a big player in private secondary schooling as well as tertiary education as well.
Market cap here is $7.1 billion US, PE ratio of 17.
I should just point out that's a conversion. So it's got a market capitalization of something like 25 billion Brazilian reals. When you convert
which converts to $7.1 billion
US dollars for comparative purposes.
Dividend yield 2.5%. Kroton.
Yes. Massive merger with another Brazilian player, what, about 3-4 years ago. They claim to be the biggest in the world in this particular sphere, but the latest results are not that hot. Student numbers were down. They went to pains in their release to the investor community and the public of how great their offering is, why students are going to enroll with them. But the last year was tough. Earnings were down in real, and of course the real is down against the dollar, and the Brazilian economy is in trouble. Now, how much of the lower student numbers is to do with the actual economy and not the company, you don't know. Obviously, the economy will have a negative effect on it, but this is a massive player.
On the back of what you've just said, I think it's appropriate to look at the share price graph.
It's a funny thing. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. This thing has been listed on the market, the Bovespa, in Brazil since 2007, but this share chart, for one reason or another, only goes back a couple of years and looks a bit raggedy. Doesn't look too bad though, actually, because it's got all 5 years. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is going on.
And I mean, the latest fall could just be the real in Brazil, more so than the company.
Yes,
I think it's
remember,
really
Brazil
the
has got negative GDP growth for the last 2 years.
Tough economic environment in Brazil. The question here is, as a longer term play,
look, they've been
is
around
this
a
one
long
you
time.
should be backing?
They've been around a long time. I think so, yes.
And it's a big country. Remember, I traveled in Brazil a year ago. Brazil, like the USA, Russia, countries with really big populations, they don't really care what's happening anywhere else in the world. It's just about what's going on in their own society. There's enough people to make it whole. The state, very weak in the Brazilian context. We know about all the corruption allegations, the problems with Petrobras. So there's huge space for private institutions to come to the fore. Nobody's waiting for the public schooling to get any better.
And I think we go back to the history of this one. It has traction. The recovery in student numbers, as you say, may or may not be related to the underlying economy. Ultimately,
longer term,
it will
must
recover
be a win,
if it is an established player.
An established player, not only in secondary education, but tertiary as well. Look at the crisis we're having in South African universities, because there are no real South African privately owned universities of scale. Well, that's not the case because of the merger with iUni and Unipar. They're also a big player in distance learning. So they've bridged the gap from the physical premise-based campuses to the online
Which is almost this blended learning environment that everybody is talking about.
Yeah, and they cover
at the
everything.
moment.
They cover the whole
the
spectrum.
Physical and the digital and the merger
and all
of
the
two.
grades and everything, yeah.
Call it hot or not?
Yes.
Hot?
I think so. I mean, Brazil obviously will pull itself out of its nosedive at some point,
stage, yeah.
at which point you might get a bit of a macro bounce, and a stock like this could do well.
And that could translate into bigger student numbers.